Hey y'all, so tonight at 11:21, I'm going to talk about switchgrass biofuels and what it is and how it's made and why it might be one of the most important or promising clean energy sources that we have. So, the background of switchgrass. So, biofuels are fuels made from biological materials like plants. They're considered renewable and can help reduce greenhouse and emissions. Switchgrass is a tall native prairie grass found throughout North America, and it has been used for soil conservation and cattle grazing. But recently, scientists have been turning it into a clean energy source. So how it is grown is it's pretty easy to grow actually. It doesn't need really any fertilizer, to be honest, or water. It can be grown on land, but it isn't good for food crops, which is actually very interesting. It's a C4 plant, which means that it's super efficient for photosynthesis, turning sunlight into carbon dioxide, into chemical energy stored in leaves and stems. Farmers plant it in rows like a regular crop, and it grows back every year without replanting, which is really helpful and a sustainable choice. To make fuel from switchgrass, sorry, I want to call it switchgrass because that's actually something I know. The plant is first harvested and then broken down into smaller molecules. So it works like, it's called, the plant tough material is called cellulose. I could be saying that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And it's broken down by enzymes. It's fermented into the sugars and ethanol and liquid biofuel. The process is a lot like yeast ferments or sugar to make alcohol. Just to have a better understanding. So switchgrass biofuels is still in the research and development phase, but it's getting closer to being used in the real world. Pilot projects and demonstration plants have shown that it is possible to produce ethanol from switchgrass to a large scale. The main challenge is making the process cheaper and more efficient, because right now it's taking a lot of money. So the impact that it has is it is low in carbon footprint, and it absorbs carbon dioxide from the air while it grows. Even through burning the fuel, it releases CO2, which is much lower than gasoline. The study that the Department of Energy shows that switchgrass ethanol can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 94% compared to gasoline, which is kind of crazy. Switchgrass can be grown on land that isn't used for food, which means it doesn't compete with crops like corn. But right now the cost of producing switchgrass ethanol is still higher than fossil fuels, but it's improving the more technology advances. Public awareness of switchgrass biofuels is very low, and most people have only heard of corn ethanol, but not switchgrass. So researchers and the government are still trying to get that out there. My analysis is, after researching this topic, I think switchgrass biofuels has a huge potential, and especially because it doesn't interfere with food supply and has such a low carbon footprint, which is extremely helpful. But for it to succeed, we need to have more investment in the research to make the process cheaper and faster, because right now we are spending a lot of money on it. If money wasn't an issue, I would build more processing plants near switchgrass farms to reduce transportation costs. I'd also invest in better enzymes and genetically engineered microbes to speed up the fermentation process. And I'd create a national awareness campaign to teach people about switchgrass and how it could help have clean energy, because the more and more it goes on, the more we need it. But some of the sources I used were the U.S. Department of Energy and Bioengineered Technology Office and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, and an article called Net Energy of Cellulose Ethanol from Switchgrass, proceeding of the National Academy of Scientists. And yeah, so thank you for listening. It is now 11:27, and I hope y'all all have a good night. Bye.